Okay, here we go. The unemployment news is out. And I don't know that you've seen any of this in the drive-by media. I don't know on television if you've seen it. Have you seen it, Snerdley? You seen any reports on the unemployment news? Well, it's amazing here. The number of Americans applying for first-time jobless benefits rose today, reversing a recent decline, suggesting the labor market remains brittle. Unemployment claims jumped to 399,000 the first week of 2012, the highest in 6 weeks, from an upwardly revised 375,000 the prior week. The 4-week average of claims also marched higher to 381,000 from 374,000. And if you read the story further, you find out that it was seasonal hiring. Seasonal hiring that accounted for the latest generation of the economy's turn the corner. The seasonal hiring in November and December that gave us all that wonderful unemployment news, and the media never bothered to tell us. I did, but the media never bothered to tell us it was seasonal employment taking place. So, somebody got fired. Somebody has been fired. Somebody got fired, and it wasn't Romney. You know, Romney didn't fire him. He'd like to, but he didn't. So, yeah, they got fired. There's the Christmas season to boot. So Obama won the future for about a month, except the fact is that Obama didn't win anything. Because don't forget the polling data. By 2-1, people were asked, we had this earlier this week, by 2-1, people were asked, what's the greatest fear you have going into 2012? By 2-1, people said Obama's reelection. Somehow we got to get that news to the Republican Party. Somehow we got to get that news to the leadership in the House and the Senate, to the Republican National Committee. They're the ones that don't think Obama can lose. They're the ones that don't think Obama can be beat. The American people are telling them every day, we don't want any more of Obama. We don't want Obamacare to be enacted. We don't want all this spending. We don't want all this debt. And we don't want a president who doesn't like a country. That our side doesn't want to admit what we're dealing with. That's just the normal, natural ebb and flow of politics, Rush. The Democrats are going to win some, and we're going to win some, and what we really want to do is get ourselves back in charge of the money, which is what their objective happens to be. And also about the unemployment number, note that miraculously, if I'm looking here at Christopher Rugaber, who is the official unemployment reporter at the AP, 399,000. Notice how often the initial new claims number hits 399, just under the dreaded 400,000 job cutoff. And you can bet on the fact that this 399,000 number is going to be quietly revised upwards, and it will not be reported on. So, well, Snerdley is asking me if the unemployment rate will go up. No, my guess is the unemployment rate will not go up. What's going to happen is that the universe of jobs will continue to shrink. The total number of jobs available will be reported to have shrinked for you and Rio Linda. And that will keep in fact, unemployment may even fall. That's what's been going on. As unemployment claims go up, the unemployment rate has been falling, miraculously so. So what are we now, at 8.5%? We're going to be in the high sevens by the time we get to November. You watch. Look if Obama can make a recess appointment when we're not in a recess, what's jigging a few numbers at the Department of Labor? Also, retail sales rose at the weakest pace in 7 months in December. No, it was not big. We thought it soared. They told us it soared at the time. And this is, of course, what people remember. But the truth of the matter is, but if it weren't for, what was it? This would be a negative number of 0.2% down. If it weren't for what was it? Automobiles, I think. If it weren't for automobile sales, the whole retail sales number would be a loss of 0.2%. But retail sales posted a gain of 0.1% as holiday buying fades. Retail sales rose at the Weakest pace in 7 months in December as consumers pulled back late in the holiday shopping season, cutting purchases at department stores and spending less on electronic gadgets. Totally, we were not told that. I know, told during the month of December, we were told the exact opposite. I haven't seen those reports. I've only seen this report. What do you mean you've seen reports that retail sales are soaring? AP report in your stack. Record-breaking. At the top of your stack. Retail sales barely rose in December, but the gain was enough to push sales to a record level for 20. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, well, sorry. The CNBC report does not take the record line that AP reports. The Snerdley story is AP. Retail sales barely rose, but the gain was enough to push sales to a record level for 2011. Now, wait a minute. A record level for 2011 was nothing to write home about in 2011. To put this in perspective, a 1/10 of 1 percentage point increase equals a record for the whole year? Is the way to look at this. 1/10 of 1% increase in retail sales. The gain was enough to push sales to a record level for 2011. It was the largest annual increase in more than a decade. That's not good news. It's 0.1%. Now, I think to put this in perspective, the week's unemployment applications with seasonal adjustments is disappointing. Without seasonal adjustment, and this is the real number. Without seasonal adjustments are just wild guesses based on what they think is going to happen because it's Christmas. The seasonally adjusted number, 399,000 unemployment claims this week, up from last week's 375,000. At 399, right? Just magically below 400,000. In the real world, however, without seasonal adjustments, the initial claims were 642,381 in 1 week. That's the unadjusted number. And the seasonal adjustment, again, is just a wild guess based on historical data and expectations given the time of year, in this case, the holiday season.